Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Aurogiri, and I must say it has been a long time since we've done a top 10 on the channel. Not the first time, but definitely not the last time, but also a long time. So the first real top 10 I did, well, not really the first one, but this is sort of related to the last one I made. I made a video, top 10 reasons why players quit Onigiri, and I made this probably 2 years ago. And most of the things that were in that video are still hold up to this day. And since I've been working and stuff, I have more time to think while I'm just doing monotonous labor at work, just moving boxes and stuff. Like, I got time to think, and that's really good. Really good, because it got me thinking about, like, the current state of Onigiri, especially in terms of PS4. And that made me come up with a list of 10 things, unironically 10 things, that factor into why these days we're seeing a lot less frequent appearances of some of the top players on PS4 especially, but this may also hold true on other consoles as well, perhaps PC and Xbox, just to name a few. So, the number one reason why recently there's been a lack of, like, you don't see the same guys around all the time. Like, you're playing, you start seeing, oh man, this guy logs in every day to do the event, and then like 2-3 weeks in, he's just gone, and then you ask your friend, did you finish the event? He's like, nah man, nope. I was like, why aren't you here? It's because it's like, well, people get bored of it. Especially these RNG events, especially, like, God forbid I say anything bad about Zunko event, or Zunko Kiritan, and I don't even know the name of the girl right now. Like, this event's been going on so long. She's on every loading screen. What's her name? Like, that's how bad it is. Like, the current event, I'm just going to call it Zunko Part 2. So, this event is chocked full of super awesome skills, ogis, materials like you wouldn't believe. Like, it's a really good exchange shop. Like, everything's super good in it. You'd think everyone would be here farming it, grinding it, day in, day out, day in, day out. Well, like, it's good for 2 weeks. And I've said this many times before on the channel, that when an update comes out, people are hyped for a week. They're hyped for 2 weeks. When it's 2.5 weeks, if they haven't got all their stuff yet, they're going to bum rush it. They're going to boost, restore, get it done on that 3rd week, no matter what. And then they're going to go do something else. Like, that's generally the trend. 1st week, everyone's hyped. 2nd week, everyone figures it out. 3rd week, it becomes a grind. They finish it. 4th week, they wait for the next update. And they relax. That's generally a very healthy trend of how Onigiri goes. Because no one, when I say no one, I don't mean no one. Because people literally play this game every day, no matter what happens, what doesn't happen, they're going to play. For sure, for sure. And that leads us to our first topic of bad events. But not really bad events, but really irregular updates. So, if that's the case, like, that's the norm that I've studied, that I've noticed, that an update comes out, people are right into it for 2 weeks, they finish up the 3rd week, and then they're done before the 4th week, or they're panicking, or they don't care at that point, or they just give up. Because there's, like, a tolerance period to how much you can enjoy an event. And we see this with Yogg a lot. Like, the first 2 weeks, we gotta farm. Okay, do I want another other side? Okay, do I want another mag? Oh, do I need more knowledges? And then it just dwindles on until, like, there's 3 days left of the event, and then they grind it out, and then it ends, and then we get something new. And then sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes we get an update that's delayed, and sometimes it's a blessing, sometimes it's a curse. Like, oh man, like right now, we're on overtime for Zunko Kiritan. Like, Zunko Kiritan's been going on for 3, almost 4 months now. Came out right before Christmas, like, I think end of November, all of December, and then in part 2 started a little bit after New Year's, a little bit before maybe. And then we didn't even get a Christmas update, it was just that, and it's still going on, and we're in February now, we're past Valentine's Day, we're literally, this recording, this is the 20th of February, the 20th. So, yeah, Itako, thank you, Chu. Thank you. Her name is Itako. I was saying Zonko Part 2. But yeah, I had to my computer was lagging, so like comments don't show up on the screen anymore. It's really annoying for me, so I had to pull it up my computer. But I see your comment. Yeah, and it is very reminiscent of an older video I've made, for sure. But like a lot of players, like we don't acknowledge that. Okay, we're gonna play this event for 2 weeks and then take a break on the fourth. Like that's not something we plan out. It's just how the card like. It's how the cookie crumbles, let's say. Like, that's how the cards fall into place. It's just how it goes. Unless it's, like, the greatest event of all time and people are just grinding it from the start. Like, some events are super good. And there's reasons why they're good. And some events are good but not super good. And events like Zunko are in that category of being great but not super great. Because it's all RNG based. Like, call out to Sasaki Kojiro's event, Christmas event we had 2 years ago, I think. And the whole thing was you have to run Sasaki's dungeons for her exchange shop, get some stuff. But the most important part was to get her scrolls, to get the Vanguard. And I was really fortunate when I did that. I got the stuff in like 4 runs. I got 3 scrolls. Like it was literally a thing. Like I just boom, 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 done. I never saw another one again. And I know some people who've done 1,000 runs, like 300 runs, like some ludicrous amounts of runs, and they never saw like the 2 scrolls they needed, or the 1 or the 2, or they got 1 and out of it. Like this RNG stuff, it's really gross. Like sometimes it works and it's all right, but other times it's like you've been running it like it's like trying to get your fused recipe, like when they first came out, like you're trying to get your sword fused recipe or whatever, like before Oni pallets, all this stuff. You're trying to get your fused recipe and you're running this thing day in, day out, day in, day out to the point of insanity, and it's like, well, nothing's happening. It's not coming. But you think to yourself, oh, okay, I'll try again tomorrow. I'll try again tomorrow. I'll try again tomorrow. Well, these events are timed. This RNG based event that is also dependent on energy is timed. So by timed, I mean there's a limit. You can only do it so much. So what puts it in a bad category is if, let's say, a person did not use any restores, right? And they were to run the event, like try to get their achievements it wouldn't be, I don't even know if it's possible to get all your achievements every day without using any form of energy restores. Even the ones they give you. I don't think it'd be possible to do every single thing every day without energy restoring. I don't know for sure. Like obviously someone could run everything on normal and have minimal drop rates, and they could do it. I click status, but I'm trying to actually look at the achievement list right now. Just because, like, yeah, you do one run, so 5 runs. So that's 25 energy. So that's 50 energy. It's 100 energy to run both dungeons on easy 10 times to get each achievement. So you'd have to run it like, that's 100 energy, right? So you start your day with, let's say on average, 120 energy for most players. So you used 100 out of your 20 energy. So when do you do this? Do you do it in the morning before work? Do you do it at night before you go to bed? When do you do this? Because it's time-based, right? So that's 100 of your energy. And then you go do something else for 10 hours to get your energy back? I don't know how that's going to go. 10 hours for that. And then, I mean, you'd do it. You'd have all 10 done on normal, but not hard, not hell. And the top players aren't running this on normal. Like, that's who we're talking about here. Yeah, the one that's 30 times, yeah, shoot, like that one, that's a monthly thing. Like that, you have to factor that in as well. Like that, like when we were doing it, like I did it, like I looked at all these rewards. I said, okay, artisan swords. We are full of artisan swords right now. I don't care about this premium ticket fragment. Like I don't have enough fragments here to do anything with. Grade powder, that's nice, but it's not important right now. And the same things. Like all I got was this ticket, and I got the ornamentation stuff, and then I got the ticket again. I thought there were 2 ornamentation stuff. Am I wrong? Huh. I could have got this ticket, but I don't really want to run stuff on hard. Like, this stuff is so disconnected from me. Like, I haven't run it in so long. There it is. I knew there were 2. Like, that's all I did. I looked at the list. I picked it out. I said, okay, mag ornamentation stuff, and then just running it on hell because I'm going to run it on hell anyway, right? Like, that's not none of my concern. I'm going to run it on hell anyway. So you get the highest supposed chance for those skill cards, drops, and Ogies, all that stuff. So, like, this stuff resets every day, but hard, normal, Like, I should probably do it for this button. Like, that's probably a good option. I could probably do that after this video. But it's not a priority. To top people, like, they don't, like, a button, it's like, it's nice, it's great. No one should ever say no to a button. But saying no to running normal 30 times is very possible. You're not going to see most people do that. Absolutely not. So, there's that part of the update, the achievement part. Achievements are really annoying. And what I was talking about earlier is that you can run this as many times as you want. Like, I've run this, when it first came out, I ran it like every day doing my achievement. That's usually the minimum I would do, is I would get my achievements, because I have to work every other day, right? Like, I'm on call, so I can't just do big investments. So, me personally, I'm going to do my event. I'm going to try and get the minimum I need every day to get all my achievements, and then I'm just going to go to work or do something else or something. Like, but that's the thing. Even if you do that, you're locked down for like 2 hours of playing. And for some people, that's only 2 hours of playing. So they're like, okay, well, I got to grind this event out, and then I got to go to work, and then I got to go to bed, and then I'm not really playing the game. Like, it gets to a point where like Onigiri becomes like work. And that's a lot like at EXP too. I talked about that before. But this irregularity in these updates, like, it's all luck too. You can run it every single day. You can clean out the entire exchange shop and still not get the Ogi you wanted. I've only gotten one Ogi from Zunko at all. It was like the fire one, like the new fire one. That's all I've ever gotten. Some people have gotten 1,000,000 of them. They've restored, they boosted. Well, I mean, you can't really boost, but they just restore, ran through it. Like, they had the constitution for it. Me, I'm like, I don't know about that. So that's one reason why players aren't around. I'm not saying that people are quitting because of this. I'm just saying they're not around because they don't want to put up with it. This event was supposed to be done like 3 weeks ago. And they log in and it's like, is Taco still here? Yeah, okay. And then they're like, don't want to do that. So, and it's not the first time. Like, it was that we had Yogg Part 2 for 4 months. We had this for 4 months. Like, we've had lots of updates that are really, really tight and annoying. Especially Fused Bear and Fusion Bear. That was some horseshit, dudes. When we couldn't get, like, we weren't able to get the recipe for Fused Bear. It was only a random ass drop. And some people got them and some people didn't. I ran that thing 500 friggin' times in like one weekend. Nothing. Me and Eva ran it. Nothing. I ran it enough to make 3 Fusion Bear Magatamas. Like, we both made like 3 Fusion Bear Magatamas. I think maybe she made 2 or 3. But we both made like 2 Fusion Bears that week. And we never saw it. Like, that's horrible. I'm not trying to like say it's bad because I didn't get it. It's just these rates are bad. Like, and the worst part about that event was that every day was a specific day, and if certain people had to work that day, they couldn't max out on that day, and there were only 3 Sundays on it, and that was the most important day, and then it was just so time constrained, and it was only like 14 days, and it was like, oh, that was a huge mess. A lot of people didn't even put their foot in there. Like, some people didn't even toss their hat in the ring. They didn't care. It's like, oh, like, this is like someone's trying to mess with my day planner. Like, screw that. And then when we told them, like, I had told Cyberstep, like, we made videos, we made direct messages, like, tweets, Facebook. We told them, like, this is glitched. Please fix this. It doesn't work. They said they're going to give us a compensation. They didn't give us a compensation. So that's a lack of morale. So that's another part of this. Not really part of my top 10 list, but literally Cyberstep itself is on this. Like, if that's number one, just bad events, timed events, limited events, like too many of them. Like, if it was once in a while, no one would really care. But that's all it's been in a while. It's just a limited event. Do this within 30 days, or else you'll fall behind some invisible scale of something new that gets released, but it's nowhere near good as like what's already in the game. So then it's like this other issue is. Number 2 is literally Cyberstep itself. Like, I was mentioning it a bit before, like, we tell them stuff, they don't fix stuff, things are broken. More often than not, they make a new update. I make bingo cards for fun, that say like, okay, what's going to be broken, what's going to get fixed, what's not going to get fixed. Like some of it's laughable and some of it's not laughable. Like the fact that I can still get 7 Heaven Spice 2 years after Gargoyle's been here is funny. I enjoy it. I collect the stuff. It's really funny to me, but there's no place for it. Like, and this is really going to tie into my true number 2, which is just, it is Cyberstep, but it's also just the lack of fixing. That's literally the thing. It's like Cyberstep puts out broken updates and they don't fix things. We're supposed to have a story update that, like, some people play this game for the story, believe it or not. Like, not everyone's here to have a big dick contest of who can do the most damage and, you know, out DPS things and get the best time. Some people are here just to play the story. The story they started in 2015, they want to see an end to it. They want to play through it. They've come this far. They're not going to quit. And it's like, okay, go fix the android, and then we're going to go to the moon. Spoilers. And then the game just can't go past that point. It's broken. We've told them. They haven't fixed it in 6 months, I'm pretty sure. So our story, we, like, in these events, they're showing us 99. Like 6 and 99. She was there in the Summer Festival. She's here in the Zunko event. We have no idea who 99 is canon-wise. Like, in-game lore-wise, we have no idea who 99 is. And 6 has never talked to us before. Like, we can't go anywhere. So we literally, like, in-game, we have no idea who she is, but she's everywhere. Because their data says, oh, they have this update, but it doesn't work. And they haven't fixed it. So then, that's very minor in the grand scheme of things. Biggest thing is, like, all these broken updates, but Blitz Tiamat. This is my number 1 thing on the list. I started with the updates because I felt that was more relevant, but my true first point on this list is Blitz Tiamat. The fact that Blitz Tiamat Oni mode has not been fixed in like a year and a half now. He came when Gala was here. Right before Gala, or right at the same time as Gala. Like, that was 2 Christmases ago, I'm pretty sure. Like 2 Christmases went by, and Blitz Tiamat hasn't been fixed yet. Now, some people say, well, I can get my White Flash and my Spark. It's like, you can, but they're literally, that's like the Charmeleon before the Charizard. Like, even if you build it up, you're wasting it because you know the next form's supposed to be there. So what I'm talking about is Blitz Oni mode is in the game. However, Blitz Tiamat has no rewards upon completion. S rank, SS doesn't matter. When you defeat Blitz Tiamat Oni mode, he's supposed to give you rewards that give Oni medals, pure lightning cores, and recipes for White Brilliance and Raid. And we try every update to run Blitz to see if he's working. He's never worked. To put this in perspective of how late it is that they have never fixed Blitz Tiamat, I was watching videos of, I'm going to say the late but no longer existent No Jitsume Yume sisters, like the Yume sisters there. They had a video of running Yogg Part 2 with Lightning White Brilliance using the Satanogi. It was a really cool video. Really cool way to show the new knowledge mags of Lightning, the Lightning Mastery mags, whatever they're called, and showing their lightning potential with the Satan weapons. And I watched that video, I'm like, I remember it was like summertime or something. It was like March, May, April-ish. And like, I was like, it's so cool that they can use she had like the bow raid with like, what's that called? Aerial Blitz Sublime, and the other White Brilliance with the Satanogi, and they were just tearing up all the enemies in there. And I'm thinking to myself, we have this same update, and they had White Brilliance and Raid, and we are, like, that update was like a year ago, and we still don't have it. Like, the fact that I was able to watch a video of someone doing a limited time event with a weapon we didn't have yet, I was like, man, that's some BS, dude. Like, we have to do this. Like, they're all, like, let's just say they're all at, like, Super Saiyan 2, and we're sitting here at Super Saiyan 1. And we're, like, literally right at the cusp of our next evolution of weapon tiers, and we can't get it. And I'm like, that's some BS, dude. Like, that's demoralizing. Especially the top people. Like, okay, like, there are people that have all of the Radiant Spines. They have every material set for White Brilliance and Raid. Like, I've had all my Empty Graves, my Falling Crosses, my Pure White Plumes, like, everything's set for me except for, like, Yakumo Temple. because it's just annoying because loading there sucks. But I literally have like 90% of everything. I've made the spark. I've made the brilliant, like the white flash. Like they're just sitting there for me. I don't use them because they're just like, why would I invest any Dura tickets into this at all? Like, why would I waste anything? So people have been waiting on this for almost a goddamn year, and they can't get it yet. They can't. Like, it's a meme now. A new update is Blitz fixed. And the worst part is, like, I've had friends who give direct messages to Cyberstep. Like, they've talked to them on Twitter many times, Facebook many times. They say, hey, Blitz Tiamat doesn't work. Do something about this. Like, and then they started off cordial, and now they're just, like, irate. They're just like, it's fucking broken. Like, could you imagine if, like, you bought a home or you rented an apartment, right? And, like, your toilet doesn't work. And they go in and they say, oh, there's water in the toilet. It works. And you tell them, no, it doesn't flush. That's the same water that's been there for 2 years. And they'd be like, but the toilet's fine. Look, you can do it. You can sit on it. It works. It's like, motherfucker, the rewards don't exist. Like, I have to use this other stuff. Like, I'm trying to make a comparison, but literally, it's pathetic. And not only that, but right when Gala was going on, they said, oh, we're going to put dungeon reward up, and we're going to cut the energy cost for certain dungeons in the wardings to celebrate Gala. So, the energy stone dungeons, so like the dungeon you run to get cutting stones, inferno stones, thunder stones, Idama, all that stuff, its energy cost is like, isn't it supposed to be like 90 or something? But it's like cut down to 45, and there was a dungeon reward up boost, and that's on Abyss Gargoyle, and Blitz Tiamat also has this dungeon reward up boost, and literally we can just walk inside, see that boost, and be like, oh, it's not fixed yet, because all their energy cost is reduced. Like, Abyss is supposed to be like 80, 90 energy or something. He's like cut in half to like 40, 60, something like that. He's just reduced. Like, that's been there the whole time. It's never been fixed. And it's super pathetic. Super pathetic. Yeah, Ken, nothing yet. I don't know, Ken. If they're going to announce anything, it's going to be tonight. That's for sure. And, like, Cyberstep, on the topic of Cyberstep, yeah, they're not fixing anything. Like, new players, like, old players are just like, okay, I'll come back when Blitz is fixed. So, like, before long ago, it used to be, I'll come back when there's trading. Now it's, I'll come back when Blitz is fixed. Like, we went through a cycle of having trading, like, disabled because we weren't allowed to bazaar anything, having bazaar come back, and Blitz is still not fixed. Like, they go in and they do bug fixes. You check the update page, like, update patch notes or whatever, and it'll list a bunch of updates and changes and fixes, and it never mentions Blitz. Like, it drives us up the wall. And a lot of people are just sitting on their mats, and they're like, well, I'll come back when it's fixed, and that's why they're not around. It's really disappointing. Do I have any sleeves? I don't have any horse drops. I haven't run horses in forever. So on that topic of, we'll come back when Blitz is there, like, people are biding their time. And the reason for that is the next point on our list, so 3, is players know what's out there. Like, we have foresight, right? Like, anyone who's anyone in the game, they know that PC gets updated before us. They know that JP gets updated before them. They know that JP PS4 gets a lot of stuff that we don't get. JP PS4 got Hound Dog. JP PS4 has working Raid and White Brilliance. JP PS4 has, like, the Ice Wolf. They have the support gargoyles. They have so much stuff. Not saying, like, but it's also stuff we should have at this point. And, like, I'm not saying, oh man, they're ahead of us. Like, that's not the thing. It's like the deal is that they have so much stuff. Like, it's not like they don't know how to program a PS4. The Japanese can clearly do it. Like, I've logged in there. Things work really well. But the thing about players having foresight is we know, like, I told people, like, they said, oh, Oro, what should I put my Zunko skills on? I've never applied a Zunko skill card in my life. Why? Because I know that the White Brilliance is a holy weapon. You could probably put the arrow on that. It's probably a good idea. Could be pretty cool. Could be a good tech. I only have one arrow 7, so what am I to do? And they say, oh, well, what are you putting the saber on? What are you putting this on? What are you putting that on? I'm like, Well, I'm saving it for White Brilliance. Or I'm saving it for the Elios weapon. The Elios weapon's a 125 weapon that's supposed to come from Hades Elios. It's supposed to be wind and mountain. Well, the Zunko skills are wind. It should probably go on there. I'm not going to waste it on a Nova. I'm not going to waste it on a Zenith. I'm not going to waste it on another side. I'm not going to waste it on a Reverence. Like, it's not going to happen. Like, and because I have no immediate use for these cards, that also demoralizes me, demotivates me to do the event anyway. So, like, because I'm playing smart, because I'm trying to be smart, I'm not just using these resources, wasting them, panicking, and that the event's about to go away and I don't have enough. Like, I got enough for me, I'm not worried about it, so I don't care about the event. Like, it's all intermingled in the psyche of, like, what motivates us and what doesn't. So, like, we know recently that, I didn't really talk about this much on the channel, but some Sublimes have been nerfed, and there's new Sublimes coming. Like, Spear's getting a Pierce Sublime, it's like Soaring Shadow Strike Sublime, Staff's getting Holy Pillar Sublime, Axe is getting Splasher Sublime, Odachi's getting Sacred Strike Sublime, Sword's getting Thunder Beast Sublime, Wand's getting Dark Gate Sublime, Bow's getting Exorcist Arrow Sublime. I don't think I missed anyone. I might have missed someone. Bow, Wand, Staff, Axe. Spear's getting Sword, Shadow Strike. Twin Sword is getting Icicle Spear Dance Sublime. So there's 8 new Sublimes coming. New elements coming. But also, some Sublimes are getting nerfed. So that's really annoying. So for Spear's getting hit hard, because Spear had really good Sublimes. Like Tidal Wave, Spirit Blast are getting nerfed. Some of the older ones are getting buffed. But there's all these changes happening. And like, all these changes are happening. And it's like, Sublimes haven't come out on PS4 in 2 years. Like, I haven't seen a unit with Sublimes. I don't know the last time I saw them. Last time I rolled for a Sublime, I got Water Dragon Sublime, and like I got an extra Tidal Wave Sublime, and I got an extra, like I have 2 of each Sublime essentially. Like, that was enough for me personally. I'm glad I did that because they have never come back, ever. Like, the only time I've seen Sublimes come back was on JPPS4. They have Sublimes in the friggin' in the free OC unit, like they're there. And if I tell people that, and they're stingy, they'll be like, oh, I'm going to wait for that unit to come in, like, 2020, because it was part of their New Year's event, which we never saw of. So it's like, what do we do? So, like, it's a challenge between wanting to play the game and wanting to be smart, and a balance between the two. Senryu too, yeah, that's true too. Yeah. And yeah, the Zunda Ogis you can level, yeah. I've heard of that, yeah. I never got any of the original ones. I only have one. And I haven't used it yet because I can only open my box at 132 because I'm stubborn. But I'm also stubborn because I don't want to level up to 132 because it's a lot of hours. So I haven't used the Zunda move ever. I made a little list to keep track of myself here. So, like, because players have foresight, like this whole Sublime thing, like, people are thinking, oh, okay, so Spear's getting a Pierce Sublime. That's really good for me. I don't even know how good it is. It's a Pierce Sublime, Soaring Shadow Strike. That means I can put it on realistically, any Spear that has Pierce on it, preferably one that has a damage multiplier on it. So, for me, it'd probably be something I could put on the Raid. Because the Raid, I believe, has Pierce. Like, if I had the Raid, I could put it on there without... Like, Spear doesn't have, like, a super Fire Ogi or a super Dark Ogi. So there's a spot for me to throw a Pierce Ogi on that weapon. So I'm thinking, okay, if I get this, I can put it there. Or if you're a staff user, you learn, oh, there's a new Ogi coming staff, that's going on the White Brilliance. And, like, Axe is getting a Rain one. Well, I don't know what they're going to put that on, a Rev 3. The new Rain weapon that's coming with the Rain knowledges, like, that's syncing up. Like, that's another thing. The Finn weapons that are coming with Minamoto, the new Vanguard on JP. and on PC recently, like rain knowledges are coming, rain masteries are coming. The rain masteries actually have pierce element on the weapons that use pierce, so bow and spear, and they have slice on others, and they don't have negative impact on the power weapons. Like they're actually paying attention to masteries, because the first masteries were pretty bad. Like, oh, the masteries have slice on them. Bow users and staff users and wand users are all like, what the fuck do I do with this? Like, it was a wasted element for sure. But yeah, like Nick, your last comment there is exactly what I'm talking about, man. Like you were saying, yeah, a year ago Senryus were here, like, and the Zunda too. You can just throw the Zundas around, like Ogis. The Zunda Ogis, you can play with them all you want because we're swimming in extraction tickets, absolutely. But that last thing you said right there, I won't be back besides login until update. There's nothing to grind. That's literally the whole video in a statement. That's all I do. I log in, I check stalls, I look around, I talk to people. Like some days it's just, oh, I gotta grab my login before the next login triggers over. Some days are like that for me. Like and for a lot of high-level players, they go get their login. Right now we have 2 login calendars. Like, you're getting 10 OC or 18 OC a day or 16 OC a day, and all your rewards, why not? Who's gonna miss out on some OC? Like, that's literally it. Like, that's the whole problem with this update thing. And this man, Nick, he told me he grinded it up. He grinded the whole thing out. Like, he did it as much as his psyche could take it. He got all the stuff he was telling me. Like, man. Like, so that's point number 3. We know what's out there. We know what to prepare for, and we know what not to prepare for. What's worth it, what's not worth it. So moving on to point 4, which is somewhat related to that, is the idea of handouts versus merit. So this is something that's on a personal level more than it is on an objective level for players. So what is it? Like, handouts versus merit. So merit is anything that you have to grind for, you farm for, you put in the work, you know, it's a big long adventure to make something or to like grind it out. Like, basically, let's call back to like 2015, 2016 when we're farming Satan. There was no trading. We're farming everyone who was anyone back in the day, they put in 800 to 1,000 runs for that cross recipe. And I didn't get mine in 1,000 runs, that's for sure. And like, it was a really big team effort. Like, people teamed up, we learned strategies, we worked together, we made new friends, we played. There was something to do every day. Even if your friends weren't on, you could go to Satan, find an open spot, join the grind, get in there, and have the fucking time of your life, man. Like, that was some of the prime time. The prime time to play Onigiri was when there was a big thing to farm. Like, and after that, it was Oshu with experience, gems, Magatamas, 105s, 113s, like the veteran weapons, ornamentations, farming 105s in general before Redux. Like, there was so much to do, so much on our plate, so much to work for, so much to feel proud about. Like, if you made a 105 back when like they were first accessible to us that summer, God bless, God damn, you were in there, man. You were like, like, there was a lot of work to that. Now 105s are a dime a dozen. They've been reduced. Like, with events, people have swimming in gems and jewels, and like Moon helped us get a bunch of stuff. Like, if someone says, hey Oro, I want a 105 mag, what that tells me is, okay, unless it's bow or wand, I just need to go to Wara Bazooka for an hour, play around, see what I can get, and oh, I got a Ronin, there's a 105. Oh, I got a log, there's a 105. Like, it's easier now, as it should be. Like, you know, I don't expect every new person to go through this hell of a grind that was fun at the time, every single time. You know, things should get easier as the game progresses. I totally get that. For sure. And yeah, Nick, like, you're part of this conversation, man. You're a top player too. Like, handouts, we're getting to the handout part. He says handouts are killing the grind. And this is related to the whole timed update thing. So a lot of our updates are limited event timed updates. They're not, oh, we put like Eldritch in the game. You get to go farm Eldritch every day for like 2 months. Like, it's not like that. It's, okay, we put something in the game, it takes energy, you and your friends work out your schedules, bust through all your restores, keep putting your quarters in the game to energy restore, and just keep running through it. And if you don't, well, it's going to be gone, and you'll never see it again. And it's like, well, shit. So it's like, people have to bust their ass out for those first 2 weeks, then they drag their ass on the third, and then they take a rest on the fourth, and then that's that cycle I'm talking about. And then the next update comes. It's something new. It's something excited. Woohoo! Let's go. So, a fine example of merit versus handouts is Fujin and Raijin. Okay? So Fujin and Raijin, and this is a problem too. The Fujin and Raijin weapon is only sword, and that killed the grind for 90% of the community, because 90% of the community is not sword. There's no way, well, actually it's 12.5%, because if you divide it by 8, assuming everyone's an equal representation, but literally 90% of the community does not want a Fujin or Raijin sword, because they're not a sword. So, like, that brought it down to, okay, Fujin and Raijin, if we're going to farm this guy, we're going to get these Magatamas. And these mags are really good. The wind, like the Eternal Wind mag and the Thunderclap mag, whatever they were called. I don't know what they're called anymore. I made the lightning one. I did. I don't know why I made the lightning one. I thought it was the other one, to be honest, but I made it. Gave me some mountain, I guess. And, friggin'... So these things are awesome. They're this huge-ass grind. There was one player, they grinded out like 3 of them. They busted their ass. They did it. Okay, great. Fantastic. That's awesome. You did it. It was a really annoying thing when it first came out. Well, guess what? Yogg Part 2. They released a wind knowledge and a lightning knowledge. Guess what? They cost they cost no chakra. Like, they cost knowledge chakra, and they cost, like, they give you, like, 3 ornamentation slots. You don't have to spend, like, 1,000,000,000 years getting them, and, like, they literally power creep themselves. So then the people who worked their asses off, and they farmed the horse mags, like the revered horse mags, well, now, Joe Blow, who, you know, he played the event for we had it for 4 months, so everyone should have, like, Lightning Wind Masteries, or whatever their all knowledge is. Like, I get this thing, it has 50 element, it's, like, 5 less element than the other mag, takes a lot less chakra, I can ornament it freely, let's go. So, they immediately power creep themselves. And we know they power creep themselves, not just objectively, but the fact that they actually nerfed the chakra cost of those mags because they power creep them, and now no one had a reason to run those dungeons, and no one had a reason to spend OC to restore or run it at all for horse stuff. Like, the only reason I made the horse sword is because they gave us all the drops in Gala, and I ran Gala like it was a marathon, and there was big titty anime at the end, and it was everlasting. Like, Gala was probably the best event we ever had. And it was a celebratory event. It was literally, here's a dungeon, run it with your friends. The boss has like 100 million health. Or probably more than that, because it took like 1 billion health or some shit. Like, it took a while to kill him. Like, Gala, you go in there and it's like it was a bazaar. It was a buffet of drops. You ran in there, boost, 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 run, run, run. Miyamoto, Vanguards, everywhere. Ifrits, we were in there. Every single day. No one skipped Gala Day. It's not like Leg Day. Everyone was in there hitting it as much as they could. Getting those tokens. Getting that exchange shop. Getting the free stuff. Like, you go in there, you pop a 300 on Hell. Oh my god, I just got like a war fan. That was like the rarest thing in there. Like, we loved it. It was the best thing ever. Best event in like recent memory was Gala, because it had all this shit we needed. Like, people were getting Teas of Eternal Night. I don't know if Fallen Cross was in there or not. Plumes were in there. All the horse drops were in there. Sleeves like crazy. Like, it was just so good, man. It was so good. And that's the only reason I made the horse sword, because I had drops from that. I didn't run the horse. Like, I didn't know what was going on. I made the horse mag for the same reason. So, like Gala was... And the best thing about Gala was that it wasn't a limited time event to get a specific thing. It was you played it and you just got all this free stuff, the coveted stuff, moon drops, like everything that was good was in there, except for a couple shitty drops, like gray apple or something. Like, it was the best. It was the best of events. And it was probably the last of the best events, because now everything's like, oh, you play this event, you got to get the Zunko stuff now, you got to get this stuff now. If you don't get it now, you'll never get it again. You got to wait for a redux. And it's like some things you can't guarantee there's going to be a redux. And it's just this big, like, Gala was amazing. Like, everything compared to Gala is just not good. But if we had Gala every update, it'd be garbage, because it would deflate the whole market. Everyone would have everything. Like, it'd be like having Christmas every day. It would lose all value. So that's why Gala is so good, so highly revered, because it did its job. It was fun. It was really engaging. And then everything else, it's not to par with it. That's for good reason. But it's a big difference between, hey, do this and get a little head start on everything else, make things a little easier, versus do this or else. Like, you're going to miss out if you don't get this stuff. Yeah. So, that was like a meritocratic update. It was something you had to farm, and you were heavily rewarded for it. Then the handout stuff, like I was saying, okay, you get the knowledge mags, it now makes this thing obsolete. Rain knowledges are coming. Does that mean Fusion Bear, Fused Bear are obsolete? Maybe. It takes a lot less chakra for rain. I don't know about the wind side of it, but the rain side of it's going to be super good. Like, the knowledge mags, darkness was a very coveted element. Like, knowledge mags are super, super, super good. Super good. Everyone needed dark. Oni Palace, like using your Cosmic Blade on Lucifer, like all this stuff, man, made Lucifer a joke, that's for sure. Like, yeah, the levels are pretty bad too. That's for sure. So then, well, yeah, that's a big thing. I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm going to segue right to that. Handout versus merit. So, this is the whole experience problem, right? So, how experience works is whoever kills something in a dungeon gets 80% more experience than if you didn't kill it. And everyone, like, you kill something, you get the full experience, and everyone else gets 20% of that experience added to their pool. So that made it so that if you carry the dungeon, you're getting all the experience for yourself. So we carry people through the game to get ourselves higher level. This is a problem. They made body parties so that people could just join a party, go run a dungeon. But if you join a body party and they're already doing that dungeon, and you're on a boost, it causes a big commotion. Very annoying. Leveling was fun back in the day, I'll give you that. Carrying dungeons, running the Miyamoto, Ifrit, just as the game evolved, getting new stuff, making things easier, more fun, interesting. Like sometimes, oh man, I can use Miyamoto to get through this dungeon, but she's not good on the boss, but I got this new Vanguard, I'm going to fill up my other Vanguard in the final room, and I'm going to get this down pat, and people did that. Especially for things like arcanes, like Tengu's annoying, so I'm going to switch to Oda at the end, go through Miyamoto, Oda at the end, things like that. So there was that version of leveling up, and then out came EXP Dungeon. So then EXP Dungeon, everyone who's 110 is now 120. Everyone who's 118 is now 125. Everyone I was 128 before the Experience Dungeon came, boy, whew. Like, it took me a while to level up a bit from Experience Dungeon, but when I did it. That's for sure. Like, and yeah, back then the community was a lot less lazy because it was the only alternative. Now that there was an alternative of, EXP farming got power crap, it's completely shit. There's no point to use these experience boosts. People have like 100, 200 experience boosts in their storage and their inventory. They couldn't use them because there was no point because of the Experience Dungeon. And then the Experience Dungeon being energy restores, taking 65 energy a run, only available 2 days a week, money printing machine, but it was so good that you could not help but do it. I don't know anyone who reached 130, OG 130 without that dungeon. I don't know. I don't know anyone who did it without that. Whoever did that, step forward and rest your feet because you ran a lot of dungeons, my friend. So then Cyberstep notices that. They realize, everyone's a high level, but they don't have gear, so we got to give them gear. And then you just keep handing out free levels. You hand out free mags, free weapons. Like, not free weapons, but event weapons. Like, Lancelot weapons are a lot less difficult to make than, like, original Dragon Arcs or Gargs, or the OG Garg, OG Dragon Arc, Abyss, Nadir. Like, Nadir was the big end-all, be-all, like, super important thing to farm. The ultimate trophy to hold in your hand. Alright, I finally got all my stuff together. Guess what came out? Supreme. Guess what's better? Supreme. Like, not saying they're a handout weapon, but, like, event weapons come in and they just eclipse the things before it. Like, Abyss. What's an Abyss, man? Like, Abyss is an ice weapon. Like, what's a Nadir? It's like, I could make 2 Supremes. I can make Other Side. Other Side completely shit on Nadir. Absolutely completely shit on it. And the worst part about the whole Nadir grind is that it's not that much better than a completion. Like, it wasn't enough of a difference to actually objectively be like, okay, I want an extra, like, 1,000 attack. Like, that's thousands of hours. But if we didn't do it, we'd be bored and doing nothing. So then, yeah, like, it's a weapon you love. Absolutely, Nick. Absolutely. For sure. For sure, for sure. So, so all these handout stuff, like, I'm not saying, like, don't use your knowledges, don't use this, don't go for this if it comes out. Absolutely go for something if it comes out. If a new mag came out tomorrow and it gives you 300 skill force and it costs 10 chakra, go get the damn thing. Like, it might ruin the game, and it's up to you whether you want to use it or not, but for God's sakes, go get it. There's no reason not to get it. If you don't want to use it, that's up to you. But there's no reason anyone should just be like, no, I don't want the new cool thing because I don't like it. I like what I have. Like, you could be like that, but at the end of the day, if they ever increase skill force cap and that thing becomes meta and what you had before is just completely in the shadows, well, you'd want to get that thing. Like, it might not be healthy for the game in the long run, for the meta, for the community, for all that stuff, but at the end of the day, you still go get it. Like, handouts are nice, but as Nick said, you can get OP very minimally. But there's the problem with that. So if everyone goes the handout route, a new person starts playing, they check out my videos, they look, they study all the game, they figure stuff out, and they go to forums, and they be like, okay, what do I do? And someone says, just use knowledge. And they're like, I can't get knowledge. Like, it's not accessible to me. The event's not going to come back. Like, I don't know if the regular Yogg's going to come back, or if all the Yogg events come with all the Yogg mags. And even if they did, imagine starting right now, and, like, the next knowledge mag thing comes out, and you can get every single knowledge from it. Okay, so now you're telling me there's a guy who's just starting out. He might have, like, a Lancelot weapon to his name, 125. He's got some fuse mags. He could probably do it, but now he has to farm his knowledges, his thunder knowledges, his wind knowledges, his rain knowledges, his X knowledges, the masteries, the Celios, the weapons. Like, it goes on and on. Like, it's like, oh my god. Like, you miss one event in this game, a really big event, like, you're lost, man. Like, I know I want to talk about why top players aren't around, but this thing affects everybody. This issue of something you farm for versus something you just get handed out to you and you have a month to get it. Like, good updates are like Eldritch. Something comes out, we get to farm it. Tempest, you farm that recipe, you farm all that stuff, Fused, 105s, like those things that are really worth it, you put in the time, it feels good, and then once you get it, it's so easy to get another one. Like, it's just snowball effect, because you know how to do it. Like, yeah, Nick's saying number one thing that pisses him off is when he sees shitty advice. Like, I don't want to shout out anyone or anything, but I've seen some guides online, and honestly, I've seen a lot more Onigiri content coming to YouTube since 2019, and I gotta say, like, that's awesome, guys. I'm really glad a game this old is still having people playing it, making new content, breathing new life into it. I love it, because I don't make as many videos as I used to, because sometimes I run out of topics, or I'm just working a lot, or whatever it may be. But I saw a guide, and in the guide, a guy mentioned, like, knowledge mags. Like, I do guides, or at least I did guides, like, for a long time. Like, I'm that guy. And for the love of me, I cannot recommend someone use an event-only item in a guide. I can say, Like, if you happen to have this, then this becomes super, super good and dominant and amazing. But I can't go tell someone who's level 3, go get a knowledge mag. That's impossible. I can't tell him to go get a supreme. That's impossible. Like, it can't happen. But I've seen some guides that say, okay, get knowledge mags, use 4 knowledge, use this build, use this. And the guy's like, I'm 2, what is this? I can get, like, I use thunder. I'm a spear user. That's what I have. Like, and that's probably a big problem. Like, to be honest, well, yeah, if a new player starts out and you say, how do I level up? I told people, go to this dungeon, pay some energy, you'll be 100 in 2 days. That's absolutely true. Like, who am I to tell him, go farm UC, go farm Sekigahara, go farm this? Like, you can't tell a new player to, like, I can't tell him, how do I level up? Go do this dungeon. Like, that's torture. Like, yeah, you should know how to do a dungeon, but, like, the experience dungeon is right there. Like, I'm not going to tell someone to, like, go, like, build a door by scratch when you can just buy them and it's literally, like, 10 cents. Like, you can't do it. It just would not happen. Like, so then, yeah, like, it creates, like the hardcore players, the top players. I've been talking about this issue for probably 30 minutes. I apologize for that, but there's so much ingrained in it, and every time Nick brings up something, I gotta talk about it, because he's right. He's on that curve. He knows what's going on. But the ultimate point about that is the high-level players, they need a wall. Like, Satan was a wall. 105's a wall. Fused, a wall. Oni Palace, a wall. Like, something that's big and challenging, and you gotta farm it. You gotta get it down pat to a science until it's effortless, and you can conquer it and master it, and go get that weapon. Go get that mag. Go get that thing. Like, people need that. And right now, that's not there. It's not. There's no big wall unless you're going to previous content that is, by all means, already power crept. If someone today goes back and builds a nadir because they want to build it objectively to use as a dark weapon, like, I mean, I can't tell them to go get another side. That's impossible. I can't tell them to go get a supreme. That's impossible. Like, there's no other dark weapon that you can make? I guess you could tell them to make a spark or a raid. I'd sooner tell someone to make a spark over a nadir, because it's probably stronger. Damage multiplier. It's not going to take them a year to farm it. Like, yeah. Like the new players, like the top players, they need something to grind against. They need something to challenge themselves, something to get up every day or get off work every day and be like, all right, let's go mess up this new boss and let's go in. We haven't had anything like that in a long time. And even when we do, some events just give us all their drops and we don't have to worry about it. It's great for me, I've made and sold like 6 Tempests. Events give me fallen crosses. Events give me stuff. I'm able to do it. No problem. Like, if I really had to, whether it was an event or not, I'd still go farm this stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not the end of the world. Like, I've been there. I walked down that path. But the only reason I'm refarming stuff is because I'm selling it because there's nothing else to do. Like, sometimes that's how it feels. And people are like, well, I'd rather go do something else. And that's going to bring us to our next point. So number 5, I believe. And that is competition. So Onigiri is a video game. And you know what there is in this world? Thousands of other video games. Thousands. Whenever someone turns on their PS4, Onigiri has to compete with every other game on it. It has to compete. And generally, why people would play Onigiri over some other game is either because it's a single-player game, or their friends play Onigiri, they want to play with their friends, therefore they play Onigiri. But it has to compete with Fortnite. It has to compete with Apex Predators, or whatever it is. It has to compete with all the Battle Royale games. It has to compete with Kingdom Hearts. It has to compete with games on other consoles. It has to compete with Smash Brothers. It has to compete with Mario Kart. It has to compete with, like, Breath of the Wild, Persona 5, Like everything that's been super good. God of War, like I've seen so many people I've talked to in this game and say, "Oh, I'm taking a break for a month because this game's coming out." And sometimes that month is the same time as a super good event in the game that's a limited time only thing. So then they can't play the game. Sometimes the event beats the new game they just got and they want to play it, but no, they got to do the event. So then they do the event, and the next month there's no new super limited event. They're gone for a whole month. They're playing that game. They don't care about Onigiri. They log in, they wake up, they get their login, they go play the other game. I do that now. I log in, I wake up, I log in, I go do something else. Like, it's just, man, like the video game industry, whew, it's super highly competitive. Like if it was a single player game, like there was no friends involved, you just do what you want, no pressure on you from other players to keep up. Like people would be done with Onigiri. They'd be done with it. Done with it. And it happens. You see it in fractures, like you see it in glimmers of it. Like it happens. Like the game's got competition. So if people aren't around, chances are they're playing something else. Or they're doing something else in life. But generally it's just there's something else to do. Like when Smash Brothers came out, December 7th, boy, I didn't touch no Onigiri. Like, I very seldom did. And that's when Zonko was out. I was playing Smash Brothers. Like, it was not happening. Yeah, like, Onigiri needs a reason for people to play. You've got to get that motivation in. Like, back in the day, it was, oh, I can't slip up because this scrub's going to pass me. Can't let that happen. Like, for some of us, that's what it was. And it's not even that someone's a scrub. It's just that general rivalry. Like, oh, you're 2 levels above a guy. You don't want him to catch up. You want to... I don't know. It's just the natural competition of it, right? So that's a short point, but still is true. Now, point 6, I believe. I'm reading my points out of order, so if they're not in order, I apologize. But at the end of the day, we're getting through all of it. So the next one is the Nyan Koropan. Okay? So for a lot of players, especially when the game was first getting updated, like we were here for every update, we were here at the beginning of every single new change. Ever since Miyamoto came and we saw how good Miyamoto was, we got excited to roll. Like if people rolled for Miyamoto back in the day, it was a single Vanguard unit. I got 5-scroll Miyamoto and 200. You roll 200 these days, you're getting like 3 parts of like 3 different Vanguards, if that, or like 20 blues. Like, never has there been a single unit lineup that was actually in the reward up, single unit, paid OC lineup in months. Like, in almost a year. Like, the last time there was a single unit lineup was like when Gawain and... what's her name? She's Ice Girl. I don't have her. Usugi Kenshin. Kenshin and Gawain were in these like single unit lineup things during the summer festival. And they were only there for like 2 weeks. And they were limited. And I've seen people do like the whole 50 spins and not get one. Like, not get one. Like, 50 spins is like $80, dude. It's like $60-$80. Like, that's pathetic, man. Mia was super laggy, yeah, but she was easier to get for sure. Like a single unit lineup, man, those were good. But for me personally, ever since Kenshin came out, this is literally the defining point for me when I stopped rolling all the time, was when Kenshin came out. She was in a unit with Kenshin, Shingen, and Himiko. And maybe someone else. But I was the first time I ever set eyes on a 3-person lineup, and I said, no, I'm not going to roll that at all. Chances are I'm just going to get Himiko's, or I'm going to get one of something and nothing of the other. And it's like, I spent $1,000 trying to get Miyamoto to 150 when Azura was in a lineup with Miyamoto, and I got 13 Azuras. Like, I lost a lot of trust in the Nyan Koropan. And these days, with the 5-unit characters, 4 characters per unit, like, even 3 with Zonko, like, it's just really bad. Like, even if you get a platinum, there's generally a 1 out of 3 chance it's not one you want. Like, last couple updates ago, we did a unit that was, like, Dark Miyamoto, and, like, Sasaki Kojiro. And I rolled it for like Dart Miyamoto, and I got like a Miyamoto and a Sasaki, I think. Or just a Miyamoto. Like, it's like, oh no, there's a Joker in my deck from now on, because there's something in there that I don't need. And I can't sell it to anyone else. Like, if I could, I'd sell someone like a 5-scroll Miyamoto for like a decent price. Like bam, you want 5-scroll Miyamoto? There you go. Like, it'd be done. But we can't. So it becomes an instant Joker in the deck, and now there's a chance that even if you get something, it's completely unusable to you. Like, that can happen. So you have a question. You ended up getting pickup Nian ticket fragments. The pickup Nian. That was in the summer, right? Will you ever get to exchange them? You could hold on to them, but I honestly don't think so. I don't think you would ever be able to. Because that was part of the Toyotomi Hideyoshi summer event, and I don't think you'd ever see them. Speaking of that, we never got Katsui, and she was supposed to come in part 2 of that event. We never got the swimsuits, part 2, and that's bad. Like, that was really annoying, and that's part of the whole thing I was talking about earlier. Our trust issues where updates come out, and they're just... They're broken. We don't get shit. Like, we're lucky to get stuff, and if we do, it's usually broken. So that creates trust issues, man. It's not that good. So, yeah, like the Nian, like, units haven't been good. They haven't done like, oh, here's a unit with X character, and then X character comes with accessories, and it's just that character. And they haven't released like multi-units anymore. Lately, they released one unit. It's got everyone involved in it, and it's just cancer to roll, man. Like, I don't know what's acceptable for people to roll these days. Like, I don't know what the last time someone rolled. Like I know, okay, so Eva went in, she rolled a lot of OC. Like, over 5,000 OC trying to get stuff. And it was a big unit because she wanted some Gawains, and she got some Gawains, but she rolled a hell of a lot of OC for, like, 7 Vanguards. Like, let's say it was, like, 50 to, let's say it was, like, $75 a Vanguard, right? Like, that was the math breakdown. $75 a Vanguard. A scroll. And she got some duplicates, some that she doesn't need anymore. Some of them were good. Like, that's the last time I remember someone rolling and having success to any degree. And back in the day, it used to be $50. You got a Vanguard $50. Like, that's how it went. Like, you got a Vanguard. That's how it used to be. Now I've put in like $50, $80. I get blue balls all day. Like, it's horrible. And not even that, but all the free tickets they gave us in Zanko, I love them. They're awesome. They were fantastic. But I rolled like 500 real world dollars worth of that, and it was like, you got 4 Vanguards. It's like $500. You know what I could do with $500? Buy a whole new PS4. Like, piss off. Like, yeah, free OC. That's it, man. Free OC, hot garbage. Hot garbage. Like, yeah, I do all this trading and stuff. I sell stuff, sell mags. I'm sitting at like 12,000 OC. That's equivalent of $1,200. $240. $1,240 free OC in my account right now. All from trading. I rolled 5,000 of that OC trying to get the accessories on my shoulders, and it took 6,000 OC to get 2 accessories and 1 Vanguard. $600 worth of stuff because it was in the non-paid unit. That's bullshit. Blasphemy. Garbage. Complete, utter trash. So no one rolls anymore. Or anyone with any sense. Some people roll just because they're bored. Oh, I'll roll $20, see what happens. Well, you know, made of paper, it burns. Pretty easy to figure out what happens. Like, it's just not good. Yeah, Jubilee, yeah. You rolled like 4,000 free. Yeah, it's not pretty. It's not pretty. Like, one day when I was trying to roll for Dart Miyamoto, I rolled like $100 paid. And I said, screw it, let's roll. I was at like 14,000 OC. I rolled like 2,000 free OC. Nothing. It was a joke. I did it for a joke. Like, it's super bad. Like, yeah. Like, the fact that there is free OC is really stupid. It's really bad. So a lot of the top players aren't paying. They invested. They got their stuff early. Like, I'm so glad I got Miyamoto early. Got all these Vanguards early. Like, whew. It's just not healthy. The Encore one's not healthy. I saw a video of a JP guy rolling like so much OC. Nothing, man. Nothing. Like, it's bad. Like, the money that I would be spending on Onigiri, I literally spend it on my phone playing Fire Emblem Heroes. Like, I love that game. I love Fire Emblem. I play it. Like, there's a new banner coming out tonight. I can't wait. Like, in that game, if I put in $50, like, I put in, like, $100 last month, let's say, and I got, like, 6 5-star characters, equivalent of a Vanguard in this game. Like, man. Like, I just get so much more value out of that game, like, than Onigiri. Like, I love playing Onigiri, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm leaving it for that, but, like, it's just not good. 5,000 OC, no Vanguard. Yeah, man, like, it's annoying. I wanted to quit after $1,000, man. Like, hey, I deadass haven't rolled Neon Korapon ever since Oda came out for the first time. I haven't put money in the game since God knows when. Yeah, like, for sure. Like, the rolling's bad. Like, on New Year's, on PC Japan, they have a lineup of 5 characters. They have the new character, not Toyotomi, but Raiko, Minamoto Raiko, the new character, and then they have Maida, Ho-Oh, Kirin, and I think the 2 horses, or maybe a support character. Anyway, there's like 5 people in this goddamn unit. And it's like, why am I excited to roll something? And even if I get a platinum, there's a 1 in 5 chance that I'm going to get something new, and like a 3 out of 5 chance that I'm getting a repeat of something I already have. Like, man, like, it's just not healthy. Like, people ask me, I get comments like, what should I roll for? I'm like, dude, if you roll at all, you pray to God. Like, you roll for anything. Like, the amount of blues we get. Like, when I rolled all the free tickets with Zunko, now I get the free tickets with Zunko, they're at a lower rate for a reason, but I literally counted every blue I had, because I posted 1 hentai picture to the Discord for every blue, and it was literally, like, 80 to 50. Like, 80 plus balls were blue. 80 plus balls were blue balls. And only 50 of them were green or above. Out of like 130 tickets. Like, come on, dude. If we multiply that by 4, so every Neon Korapon roll costs 40 OC, so 130 times 4, that's 400, $520 worth of tickets, and I got 4 Vanguards from it. That's pretty cool, but it's like, goddamn, it's not a good time. It's not a good time at all. Like, the Nian is not what it once was. It's not. And I'll give you guys, I talked about this in the Switch video, but when I talked about the Switch, on the Switch version, they are literally just starting, in their first lineup is Miyamoto, Sasuke, and Himiko, all in the same lineup. They didn't have the common courtesy to put them all individually. These Switch people are going to be raised on the concept that every unit has 3 different possible Vanguards in it. They're going to be raised on that. They're going to think that's the goddamn norm, and that the game's just shit to roll in. The thing is, you can't get them hooked like you got us hooked if all the units are shit rolling results. It's not going to happen. Like, and goddamn, I don't know what the rate it is to get a gold these days, but you can't fucking get it unless you have a platinum ticket. That's how you fucking get a gold ball. Like, it's bad, dude. It's bad. It's got me swearing. It's that bad. Like, that's a lot of that's, how'd you get that many tickets? That's a lot of tickets. But, you know, it is what it is. So, moving on from the toxic Nian and how it's undercutting us and all that stuff, like, moving on from that, next thing on our list, let me just go over what, I'm just going to say out loud what we've talked about, just so that I know. We talked about Blitz Tiamat, regular updates, handouts versus merit, foresight, no good units, bad Nian Korapon results. That was 2 points in 1. Competition with other games, like trust issues, like we know that updates are broken all the time, things don't get fixed. That's a thing. The next one is, this one is 2 topics in 1. Oh yeah, if you have multiple characters, okay, yeah, that makes sense. That's that. Okay, you had me going for a second there. But the next one on our list is, I'm going to call it damage cap slash a lack of visible improvement. Okay? So, top players aren't around all the time because even if we get a new thing, like, let's say, right, for example, Elios weapons come out, and I can't wait to put Verdant Storm in an Elios weapon. Guess what? Verdant Storm in an Elios weapon does the same damage as Verdant Storm with as Zenith does. Or Blistering Ice Wave with, like, the next ice weapon. Like, some moves, like, those moves are obsolete now. Like, Verdant Storm and stuff. Like, it doesn't matter what you put it on, it's still going to do damage cap, or unless you trigger a special damage effect or something. Like, there's a huge lack of visible improvement when we get new mags, unless you're doing something completely radically different, or you're doing a build you didn't have before, or trying to accomplish something that's not damage related. So, like, at the end of the day, a lot of the times I'm a huge advocate for Tempest mags, because when you're 130 plus, the Tempest mags give you 2500 extra attack. Well, that attack amplified by accessories, amplified by weapons like the other side, amplified by the weapon being smelted up, like, it puts me at, like, 80k attack. Like, really close. High 70, high 80k attack. Like, it doesn't matter what elements I'm using, unless they're the wrong elements or the right elements. My damage is pretty universally consistent because I'm basing all of my strength off of the damage cap. If my Whirlwind Thrust does 2 million damage a tick, therefore it is breaking damage cap, and therefore it is good damage. Like, because the damage cap is what it is, and, like, even if some things don't hit damage cap, or it's just a single hit move that hits damage cap or doesn't hit damage cap, everything falls short. Like, you can give me a new wind weapon, and if, like, Blue Fang Blade hits damage cap versus, like, if Blue Fang Blade went from hitting 5 mil to damage cap, you've made a huge goddamn improvement. If Zunda Arrow goes from doing damage cap to doing damage cap, no matter what you put it on, then there's no improvement. You have a thing, and it doesn't matter what it goes on, it's doing the same damage. And if that's the case, why would I go for something else? This is the same thing with knowledges. People can throw on 4 knowledges, use any weapons they want, maybe have like an elemental mag on it, and you can do anything you want and still do the same damage. Why would I go get something else if I'm going to be doing arguably the same damage? Like, there has to be a big enough margin of increase for people to be motivated to go after it. Like, that's what I was saying. If Blue Fang Blade went from doing 4 mil to damage cap, huge difference. Absolutely worth it. If Blue Fang Blade goes from doing 8 mil to 9 mil, that's great, but it's not game breaking. It's like, it has to be game breaking. It has to be incentivizing. It has to be. Night, Nick. See you later, man. Thanks for the comments. Really appreciate it. For sure, man. You're a big help. Have a good night, dude. Yeah, so, like, this lack of visible improvement, right? So moves like Flame Lance or any of the lances, they're going to damage cap. It doesn't matter what you put it on. You put it on it because it gives you invincibility frames, not because of the damage it does. That's the main appeal of lances. It's more of a utility move than it is a damaging move, especially at late game where enemies have more than the damage cap for health. That's a big problem. Like, when I'm running Resui Island on 5-man trying to farm marbles, and enemies have more than damage cap, and I can't one-shot them, it's really annoying because I have to 2-shot them or 3-shot them. And it's like, it gets to a point where your damage doesn't matter. It literally comes to the point where, okay, damage cap equals 1 damage, and if an enemy has more than damage cap, then I have to 2-shot them. It turns into Pokemon where it's like, okay, like, generally in Pokemon, your health doesn't really matter. It comes down to how many hits you can take. 1-shot, 2-shot, 3-shot. That's it. So, like, it's not like a fighting game where it's like an exchange of blows. It's literally, okay, this enemy takes 3 damage caps to kills. Lance, 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 okay. Go to the next thing, Lance, Lance, Lance. Like, there's no moves that you're going to go up to someone and just be like, oh, hey, sup, I'm going to hit you for 20 mil real quick. Like, it doesn't happen. You have to be using multi-hit moves. And some classes don't have multi-hit moves. Like, Axe doesn't have a massive amount of multi-hit moves unless they're exclusive Ogis like Day 10 Ryu or Alsame Force or Abyssal Embrace, things like that that are true multi-hit, but they're not regularly available to players. Like the whole multi-hit versus single hit thing, like unless your single hit is instantaneous damage, rapid shot, cursed arrow, blue fang blade, something like that that you can just throw out, just throw it out, throw it out, throw it out like a projectile, like multi-hit moves are way better. So like if damage cap's the thing to beat, I'm gonna use Whirlwind Thrust, I'm gonna use Tidal Wave Sublime, I'm gonna use Water Dragon Sublime, I'm gonna use Water Dragon, I'm gonna use Lens of Flames. Like Spear has all this multi-hit stuff. So for me, damage cap isn't that annoying because I know I'm just throwing out as many hitboxes as I possibly can to an enemy while it's still there. Like that's literally Spear strategy. Just throw out hitboxes and block. Like you'll be fine. If you miss, you got like 40k health. Who cares? Like, yeah, because of the damage cap, the game is definitely in a multi-hit shift. Or you have flames on your weapons, like Misty Masker, Cotton Blade on Twin. They just wreck the shit out of damage because flames don't scale for every hit. It's like a fresh skill every time. Like they're super super good. Like, and sometimes multi-hit moves they hit like once or twice, they don't do enough damage, like Thunder Beast or something like that. Like some moves, even if they hit like a million a tick, it's like, well, it only ticks 5 times. Like you're better off using like Deathstorm Blast or something, depending on what class you're playing. So like the main thing I'm getting at here is that even though all this new stuff comes out, until they change the base engine of how damage is dealt, like there's not much point in increasing. Like the biggest increases we see in damage come from damage multipliers that ignore the damage cap by adding an extra 2 million damage on that hit. So you can start seeing numbers like 11.9 or 10.9 million damage on attacks. Like it's the damage multipliers is the biggest thing. Like if it's like how annoying is it to know that you have an Abyss, you use Blistering Ice Wave on it, it's going to do damage cap. You have a Rhyme, you use Blistering Ice Wave on it, you're going to do damage cap. You have the 133 Garg, you use Blistering Ice Wave on it, you're going to do damage cap. But alternatively, as an Axe player, Freezing Ice Blade, multi-hit move, goddamn they want that 133 weapon, it's going to do a lot of damage, ticking their ice caps for like global warming damage, like 4 million a tick. Like Axe's Harvester, super good if you stack Mountain with Harvester. Like I had Lyra do it on Mephistopheles. He's got like number 1 time PS4 right now, I think. Fighting Mephistopheles with that Harvester, great Harvester 7, boom, 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 boom. That thing is doing like 6 mil. Like that's goddamn damage. Like that's the equivalent of Spear's Rolling Thunder. Tell me what out DPS is Rolling Thunder in this game. If something's weak to Thunder, and you use Rolling Thunder, and it zaps damage cap 7 times, you might get a damage multiplier in there somewhere. God damn, you did just 50 million damage. Blistering Ice Wave does 1 damage. Like, that's what it feels like. Like, it's crazy, dude. It's crazy how things are going. And that's going to demoralize people if their class that they play, like, let's say Odachi or Bo or something that doesn't have a lot of multi-hit stuff, like, it's just a clear divide. It's like, I can hit damage cap, but that doesn't amount for dick anymore. Like, that there is not the main reason people aren't playing as much, but it's just the lack of a visible increase in damage. Like, some people will say, I have a Fallen Star, why would I go for Supreme if I'm only going to use it for fire, let's say. Like, I have an other side, I have no need to make this a dark weapon, I'm only going to use it for fire. Like, is there that much of a noticeable difference that argues that I should go get this thing? Like, if you were going between Nadir and other side, absolutely. If you're going between, like, El Sin and Raid, absolutely. If you're going between El Sin and White Flash, it's about 3,000 attack, but the El Sin takes more of a lightning multiplier than the White Flash does. So I don't really care about my White Flash. Let's just say, like, when new things come to replace the old stuff, it has to be enough of a jump to really incentivize it. And like I mentioned earlier, this is mostly apparent with like the horse mags and the horse knowledges. Like the horse mags come out and then they're there for like a year, and it's like, oh, when it comes to lightning, this new mag comes out and it's super good. It's like, oh, this new wind mag comes out, it's super good. Like that happens too. And that's going to take us to our final point of why players aren't around that much, And this encompasses mostly everything I've been talking about, and mostly and a lot the last thing I was just talking about, and that's just power creep in general. So power creep is the term generally used to describe when a new thing is introduced to the game that completely eclipses or makes things irrelevant from a time before. So now, not everything is power creep. Some things are natural evolution and progression, but some things are super power creep. Like, a true example of Onigiri of power creep is knowledge mags. Now, why are knowledge mags power creep? Knowledge mags came out. You had to farm Yogg for them. People had to do it, and it was possible to do it. They gave you Ho-Oh. Anyone could really do it within a certain margin of skill level, and you farm the knowledges. Now, what makes the knowledges power creep is not that they're 50 dark. It's not that they're 50 dark for every weapon. It's not that they're like 150 skill force. It's not that. The extra skill force, you get that for leveling up. That's important. You got to hit 130 to get that. 125, 130. What made the knowledges power creep is that they were base 110 to equip them. So, when you give someone who's 110 a Magatama with skill force on par, if not a little better than a fused, you've now eliminated a whole portion of the game he has to do. If this knowledge mag completely eclipses fuse, like there's no logical area, like there's no completely visible scenario in which fuse completely utterly outclasses knowledge to a point where there's a job knowledge can't do, then someone can skip the whole fused grind and just have knowledges, because they had knowledges at level 110. They have 3 ornamentation slots, very low chakra. They just power creep every single stat of whatever the current meta is. People use them, and that's all they have. Like, what reason do they have to get something else if what they have could do legitimately everything the game has to offer? I got a comment from Trill. I haven't played recently, but I think it's because I always solo, and to be honest, I'm kind of overwhelmed and I don't know what to do. Plus, seems like I've been playing the storyline forever. Yeah, we talked about that a bit earlier, like the story's broken right now. I didn't really take that into consideration, solo players versus team players, because at least in the people I play with, most of the time, some things you want a team for it, but most of the time, some things you can farm it in a team, it goes super fast, but we can still do it by ourselves. Like, Onigiri is a game where you want to be super strong so you can do everything on your own if you absolutely need to. You never want to be in a situation where, like, oh, fuck, I can't do this thing by myself. I need my friends. And that happens, like, with Yogg and, let's say, Purple Mephi, things like that. Big raid boss stuff. Like, they're supposed to take multiple people. But there's a great sense of pride and accomplishment in doing it solo. And then people get to that point where they can solo this stuff. And it's great. It's great to be independent. It's not great for low-level people who want to try and get a hand. If someone else could just do it easy peasy, like, and everyone's doing everything by themselves, then, sucks for them. But I'm just trying to take in this perspective you're bringing up of the solo player versus a team player. That is a big problem. You're absolutely right. Like, this is an MMORPG, right? And there's nothing wrong with soloing the game if you so choose to do so. And I know it's a little redundant, you so choose to do so. But a big problem in the game is when there's certain parts of the story that the game forces the player to solo. Like, I think the Satan fight, you have to solo that. Like, the Satan fight before Lucifer. That one fight with Purple Mephistopheles. You have to, coming up, the Makami event. That's the Makami Oguchi, the white fox dude. He has an Oni mode that you have to solo to farm for his Magatama. And for some people, it's either you can do it or you can't. Like, that's it. And this is an MMORPG. A game you play with your friends. Why in God's name are you soloing anything that's not Training Grounds? What in God's name? Like, what are they thinking? Like, it's the thing. If there's an Oni mode that you can only run X amount of times a day, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna run this with my buddies. It's like, oh no, you have to do it solo. It's like, why would I do anything solo in a game like this? Going solo should be a choice. That to me, it baffles me. It baffles me to God's end. Like, why would anything be solo in a game like this? Like, I told people at the start, like, don't go pure healer. Because everyone can hold a staff, and everyone should pretty much have 3 weapons and a staff, be able to heal or support when need be, right? Traditionally, in MMOs, people take on this thing called a class. And the class is called a healer. And some people like to be a healer. Like, maybe they're your significant other. They don't really want to play the game that much, but they know you enjoy it, so they want to play with you. They give you a helping hand. They give you buffs. They heal you. That's a trope. You see it in anime. You see it all the time. It's a thing. It's a real thing. I've had tons of people ask me, like, hey, my boyfriend plays this game. I want to learn to be a healer so I can play with him and be with him. And I tell them, well, you can be a healer, but it's not going to last much farther than level 20. Because, like, if all you can do is heal, you're going to come to a point where it's like, hi, I'm Satan. You can't heal me, bitch. Like, you can't outrun him. You can't first aid him till kingdom come. Like, there's going to be a time where you need to fight. And Cyberstep is literally enforcing that into the player. There's no reason you shouldn't be able to fight. The staff does have offensive moves, but if someone's a healer, then they're shit out of luck. They gotta go back. They gotta go get different things. They gotta go gear up for war. Like, they gotta be the like, it's literally like Goblin Slayer there, the healer, who's literally like sees everyone die, and she's like, oh shit. She's got to go get chainmail. She's got to go change her build because she realizes, like, oh shit, I got to fight too. Like, you can't be a healer in this game. You can't, like, some things they're not meant to be soloed. Like, and when you get to that point, now this isn't a top player issue, but when you get to that point and it's like, shit, I can't get past this thing. I can't get the stuff because I'm solo and no one helps me and I don't know what to do and I don't know where to get stuff. And then, like, people are gonna go away. They're gonna, like, get pissed off, throw their controller down, and go figure something else to do. Like, that happens. That happens for sure. But returning to the points at hand, the whole idea of power creep that we were talking about. So we're talking about, so you get your knowledges at 110. Why is that a bad thing? Or why is that a power creep move? Because you're getting it and you're missing all the fuse. You're just like, you don't, at that point, whatever weapon you use is fine. Like, you can have a cross and probably do, well, I mean, cross isn't holy. You can probably do really well with a cross. You can go get a night sky, and the night sky is going to be your god and savior for, like, the next 2 years, like, content-wise. Like, because it's a dark weapon, you can put anything on it. It's got a huge multiplier. Great, fantastic weapon. Knowledge and night sky go together like anime and titties. Like, it's just you'd expect it. Whether you want it to or not, it's just there. You love it. Like, nothing better, man. Like, it's like potatoes and gravy. Like, you're done. It's easy. So then, like, realistically, something of that level of power, in my opinion, should have been 115 or 120. What difference would it made if it was 115 versus 110? I'm not sure that much, but at that point, if they're 115, they should have their Gargs and stuff, right? Like, Gargs are like initiation. You get your Gargs, you're ready to go. Like, and then if you're in a situation where you have knowledges, but you never farmed 105s and you never farmed fused, if you ever wanted to make that jump to Tempest, you're looking at your recipes like, oh shit, I gotta go get this fused recipe, this fused recipe, this fused recipe, this mag, that mag, Neoteru, Nubatama, whatever, like all this stuff. You just skipped it because it wasn't necessary. And then, like, you're at this crossroads where it's like, well, I'm doing fine with knowledges, why would I go get the next thing? And power creep literally leads to this mentality. I've talked to people, they said, like, a guy on a Facebook group was talking about, like, he was waiting on the next knowledges to come out. He knows, it's that foresight thing. He knows that more knowledges are getting pumped out. So why would I farm something else? If I need another element, they'll make a knowledge for it. I just have to be patient. So then that kills a player base. And that's a huge player base. Like, that's like, imagine a bunch of 127, 128 players. Like, they have that stuff. And it's like, why go farm Fusion Bear when I know they're going to make a rain knowledge? Like, the second they made a different element knowledge, it was set in stone that by 2021 we're going to have a every element knowledge. Like the Makami mag is an ice holy mag. Like that's super super good. That mag is universally awesome. PC has it. They love it. Ice and holy, fantastic Magatama. Like we have rain, dark, thunder, or lightning, and wind right now. So what's missing? Fire, mountain, ice. I mean, the other one's ice, but and holy, I guess. Like, and what's to stop them from making a slice one or a pierce one or an impact one? Mind you, Celio does give 50 slice, but like they're just gonna give everything away. And then the time when like rainbow knowledge is out, like every knowledge is out, and you have no reason to farm anything because element cap is still 250, skill force cap is still 500, crit force cap is still 300. If all the caps, including damage cap, remain the same, and everything has been released, universally available, something new comes out, it has to super power creep that for people to want them. Like it would have to be like 75 element for like 15, 25 chakra. Like if something ever came out like that and has like 200 skill force on it, yeah, then everyone's gonna go for it. But once everything's been power crept, it just leads to more power creep. Like it's power creep is literally Dragon Ball Z. Like, okay, we beat Frieza. Okay, Cell comes, Cell's stronger than Frieza. Okay, there's this guy Majin Buu, he's 10 times stronger than Cell, infinite times stronger. It's like, oh, well then there's Janemba, he's like super, super strong. And then there's Beerus, and then there's Jiren, and then there's like, it just keeps, there's always something bigger. And that's how power creep goes. Bleach, Dragon Ball Z, same thing. Same thing. That's how they go, man. Hey Eric, how you doing? Hey Anthony. I'm one of the top players, and I have my reasons as well. Cool. If you got a minute there, Anthony, share some. I went through a couple. I don't know, you're coming in late, but share some of your experiences, man. I'd love to hear just a little blurb about what's going on in your life. Why aren't you playing right now? What's up? For sure, dude. We'll hang around for that. We're literally an hour and 30 minutes in. I started this at like midnight, so it's like 1:31 here. So yeah, like the whole power creep thing, like the power creep thing is related to the whole handouts thing from earlier. Like the biggest example I can think of is like, and I've seen this what's that word? I've seen this firsthand in my own eyes. Sorry, I was trying to say first eyes hand. That wasn't working. But like there's a thing called a welfare state for a reason. Like you might have heard of it on the news or online or something. But the welfare state is literally where people get into a bad spot and they have to rely on the government to cover them because they hurt themselves at work or whatever, and they're living on welfare for a time. They can't find a job, they got laid off, whatever it may be, workers' compensation, anything like that, right? So you get into this point where you're on welfare and it's enough money for you to comfortably live and not work on anything. Like you're not trying to do physiotherapy to get yourself better, you're not improving, you're not job searching, because you know that every single month you're going to get this check and it's going to carry you through onto the next month, and you're able to ration your food and you're fine. You're able to get by. No matter what life throws your way, you're able to get by with what you have. And you know that there's always going to be something else coming. So why would you go get a job when you can do literally Netflix and chill for like a month at a time and, still get by? So the same thing with knowledges, right? So you get your knowledges. You know that in 4 months, more knowledges are going to come. Why would I farm something else? Because a new knowledge is going to come. Like it's this mentality of why would I farm this when I know something else is going to come? Why would I farm this when I know something else is going to come? Why would I farm Nadir? Because Other Side came. Before we got Other Side, I knew about Other Side. I knew it was coming. I still farmed the Nadir because it was the thing I was doing, but I knew it was coming. Like, and too much foresight would be a really bad thing. Like Switch players, man, like the biggest advice is like, literally, if you can afford it, take like a 6-month break and come back later, because right now the best weapon you can get is given to you by a cat at the start of the game, because nothing else is better than it, because you don't have access to like stuff. Like, if you were just starting the Switch now and you knew that like the best you can get is a gargoyle, but you know that in like a year, like the next things come, there's so much stuff out there, man. Like if a Switch player starts watching gameplay of a raid and White Brilliance, They're going to be like, well, shit, why would I farm a El Sin? Why would I farm a Fujin Sword? Why would I farm a Nadir? Why would I farm a Night Sky? Why would I farm all this low tier shit when I'm able to just get 3 Gargs, 105s, or Knowledges, or whatever? And, I mean, I wish you could farm Knowledges. You can, but it's a limited time thing. Like, why would they make that extra effort when they know that the next big thing is coming out? Like, so what do? They piss off. They go log in every day. They get their OC. They log in for cool events, login calendars, whatever. They're in, they're out, and they're waiting for the next big thing. Like, that's the mentality, man. Oh, Trill, you brought up the point, baby. So sorry I missed your comment, Trill, but you said you literally lost, bro. I got an El Sin from a player shop, and it's been carrying me so far, but the dungeons are getting harder. That's the thing. You can, and power creep comes in that form too. Sure, you can drop, like some players, someone's selling a really good weapon, you drop that $80 for it or whatever they're charging, you go get it, you're good to go. Oh, you're not high enough level for it? Go do the EXP dungeon. Doesn't take long, friend. Oh, you're 125 in 2 weeks? Sure. You got that El Sin already? Great. Way to go. Like, the weapon can literally, like, buying stuff like that, you can literally carry you through. For sure it can. For sure Bazaars contribute to it as well. Absolutely. No doubt about that. And then but you're going to hit that wall, Trill, and you're going to be like, oh, El Sin's not cutting it. Maybe I got to bump up my mags. I got to go get 105 mags. I got to go get fuse mags or whatever it may be. Or I got to use this weapon to get the next weapon. That's usually how it goes. You get one thing to get the next thing. Like, there's a natural progression in all this. Earlier I mentioned, like, Tempest. I said Tempest isn't power creep because Tempest is part of a natural evolution of mags that aren't from an event. Like, of course, 105, like, of course, Fuse are better than 105s and Tempest are better than Fuse. Absolutely, undisputably. But there's something that's in-game, part of the natural evolution pacing of the game. Like, when 105s came out, people were 105s. When Fuse came out, people were like 115 to 120. When Tempest came out, people were like 125 to 130. Like, that was the level range. Like, it's part of the natural progression of the game. And it's something that's always readily available. You can, and it literally, their materials go 105 to Fuse to Tempest. Like, it's visibly viewable on like a pyramid scheme. Like, you can see it. Like, all the time. Hey Logan, that's my name too, man. Kramer. Good XP dungeons with no energy. The best one without energy is Arcane Dungeons, and that's after Mephistopheles. If you're early in the game, it's basically whatever your level is. Like, most notable dungeons, like the earliest you should ever be farming experience is maybe like Echigo Estate, UC Cavern, or Secluded Forest in Kaga, depending how early it is. After that, it's like, if you're really, really early on, I highly recommend you just farm Water Bazooka on hard because you're going to get Magatamas anyway. At 115-ish, you can start farming the new, like, what's that dungeon called? Byakko Cavern? Not Byakko Cavern. Mine of Delusions? No, what's that called? Mine of Bokyaku. Oh my god, it's been forever. Mine of Bokyaku, Arcane Dungeons, Dew Creek at a high level. That's generally what I can think of is the high progression of experience dungeons. Yeah, guys, there's lots of reasons why we don't see all of our friendly faces around all the time. Now, I semi-apologize if this top 10 video is like an hour and a half, 40 minutes long, but I wanted to discuss everything, raise an argument for why I believe each thing is as it is, and just have a general discussion. And the comments were very helpful. I appreciate them. They were very nice. Yeah, guys, my throat's getting a little sore. Getting a little tired here. It's like almost 2 in the morning, by the way. But I think that's going to do it. Just to restate all of my points of why I think people quit. Or not quit, really, but why people we don't see many high levels around these days, is Blitz Tiamat not being fixed. This is a PS4 only thing, Blitz Tiamat not working. Irregular updates, so like updates getting delayed, updates coming out, updates being limited, updates... they're not being true updates. Like, they haven't just released, oh, here's a new warding boss, go farm him for like 2 months and we'll see you then. Like, if they did that, I would love it. Just send out a new guy, we'll go farm him, let's go. You know? And then there's the point 3, handouts versus merit. So if too much stuff is handouts and not enough stuff is something you actually just go and farm, high-level players have no reason to really stick around. They get their stuff within 2-3 weeks. They leave. They go piss off for 2 weeks. They come back next month, and they get the new handout. Like, when it was farming stuff, you're farming stuff. It doesn't matter what day of the week it is. It doesn't matter what the event is. You're getting in the dungeon with your boys, and you're popping some energy restores. That's the farming. So then point 4. Knowing what's out there / foresight. So if you know a new weapon's coming, like if you knew other side's coming, why farm a nadir? If you know that the new rain weapon's coming, why farm reverence? If you know that the new gargoyles are coming and you're somehow prepared to hit 120, 133 without farming anything else, then you're not going to farm anything else till you're 133. Like that's a big stretch, but like, if you know what's coming, why would you farm something? That goes back to, well, I know new knowledges are coming, why would I farm more mags? Like, that same thing. Hey, Scythe, top 10 list of why players aren't around that much. We're on point 6, just to wrap it up, and then I'm going to be done here in a bit. But it's sad to see so many people coming in late, but we'll continue. So, point 5, no good units in the Nyankoropan. So, what is a good unit? A good unit being a unit that is just 1 Vanguard, maybe 2. They come with accessories. They're not split up like gold balls or accessories and Vanguards are there. Once upon a time, back in my day, Vanguards and accessories came together. Whether or not they were the same Vanguard or not, they were just fucking together. Like, when Dark Miyamoto came out, she came with Miyamoto accessories. Like, fuck it. We said, okay, whatever. I'm going to roll with Dark Miyamoto. I need them accessories. Like, now it's like, oh, here's Maida Toshi. She comes with... Now, Maida Toshi kind of makes sense because she came with 2 different Vanguard accessories. That's fine. But Zunko, Kiritin, and Itako, they all didn't come with their own accessory, and that's goddamn bullshit. Like the units aren't good. And Harai's mentioning point 6, for sure. What's considered high level? High level is like 128 plus. If you're 128 plus and you're geared up as such, you're high level. If you're 128 plus. That's a high level. For sure. And then 6 is what Harai is saying, SPs aren't what they used to be. It's bad Nyankoropan results. So, I mentioned this a lot earlier, but now you can, like back in the day, you throw in $50, you get a Vanguard. If you got 2, God bless. Nowadays, you throw in $50, you get disappointment, blue balls, and more cudgels than you can shove up someone's ass. Like, it's not good. Rolling's not good. Free OC rolling, not good. Units have 5-6 Vanguards in it, not good. Even if you get a Platinum, that's a 1 in a 5 chance it's the Platinum you want. So bad Nyan results, not good. Now what you said there, Harai, is also on our list for sure. Number 7 was competition. So that means other games come out. Kingdom Hearts comes out. God of War came out. Like all Smash Brothers came out. Mario Kart comes out. Switch comes out. All these new games come out. Other MMOs. Terra. Apex Predators. Or Apex Legends. That's what it is. Fortnite. Like all these other games are out there at the same time, man. Like it's hard to compete with Onigiri when the gameplay is fun. The people you play with are fun, but the game itself doesn't have the content to keep up. People go elsewhere to go get it. 8, trust issues. So this is what Harai's talking about. And this is basically, we don't get updates the way they're supposed to be. Things are always glitched. They're broken. We don't see stuff. We've never had a Valentine's event. We don't get GM events. We don't get Thanksgiving events. We don't get Fever, goddamn ever. I didn't talk about Fever ever, but Fever, if there's Fever, people are on. Like, they are living, eating, breathing this game. If there's fever, goddamn, they're here. Like, but we don't see fever anymore. Like, Blitz CMS never been fixed. Updates are broken. Promised compensations don't come. They make mistakes. Things aren't run up to snuff. Like, you can't trust Cyberstep. Like, we play games. We make bingo cards. What's going to be broken this update? What's going to be broken next update? What's going to get fixed? What's not going to get fixed? Like, just lack of transparency. Just trust issues with the developer. Literally. Oh yeah, lag's a big thing too, but if they made it this far as a top player, the lag doesn't bother them, right? Like, it'd be like if your workplace stinks on the first day, but you're there for a year, it doesn't stink anymore, right? That's literally what lag's like. Like, if you're still there, you don't care. You don't care anymore. You don't care that there's a swamp growing in the bathroom. It's your swamp. And like, that's a Shrek reference somewhere in there. But when it's your swamp, you don't care, right? Like, that's how it goes. It's my swamp. So, point 9 is damage cap and a lack of visible improvement. So new, like, top players aren't going to be around as much to be farming stuff or even taking part in new events if the results of that event are not worth farming. If there's not enough of a difference between new gear coming out versus current gear that you already have, what's the point of getting it? Like, an example for me is when Yogg Part 2 came out, I got my my Dark Knowledges for sure, first time knowledges came out, but when Part 2 came and I already have Thunderquake Tempest that have Wind and Lightning on it, those 2 Wind and Lightning knowledges that were there, I didn't get more than 4 of them. Like, I was like, I don't really have a need for these, I'm not going to use these. Like, when it comes to Lightning, my Tempest is much better. Like, there's no reason for me to use it. Like, my good friend Suzaku, he's a Wand player, Wand Tempest, like, he doesn't use knowledge mags. He's going to use wand mags because they're just better dark altogether. Like, there's no reason for him to use knowledges. Like, when there is a complete, yeah, exactly. What are you doing in my swamp? Yeah, like, when there's a complete lack of a visible improvement between your attacks you're using or the new build versus old build, you're not incentivized to go for it. Like, a big visible increase is, oh, you can have Blue Fang Blade or you can have Zunko Arrow. Like, that's a big difference. Like, one of them outclasses the other. One of them's faster, but one of them just caps, boy. Like, just caps. So, I mean, if damage, I don't even want 99.9 mil. I want no damage cap. I want to know what I can do. If I hit that damage cap after it gets raised, I'm pissed. Like, if they increase damage cap to 20 mil, garbage. Verdant Storm is still trash. Like, it's garbage, man. They need to get rid of the damage cap. Like, absolutely. Like, if I'm doing a lance and I got like 300 fire and I'm about to slam down dunk on this guy, let me slam down dunk this Kappa for billion damage. Like, you know. Yeah, like, bosses have so much health that because of how little damage you're doing, like, everything's compared to the damage cap. So if my Whirlwind Thruster is 2 million a tick to something, I think that's great because I'm doing 14 million damage. That's awesome. But if damage cap was gone and other moves can, like, if Verdant Storm start pumping out 50 mil, well, fuck, I'm going to start using Verdant Storm. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and because this doesn't happen, people are like, well, what's the point of getting stronger? I'll get it just to have it in case I need it, but it's never going to amount to anything. Like, that's true. Top players quit because of their buddies for sure. But I'm not truly talking about why they quit. I'm just saying why we don't see people around. And if I started saying quit, I apologize. I apologize for that. But I'm just saying why we don't see people around all the time. Oh, true, man. Like, a bit, but different for me because Aurogiri and stuff. But I know what you're saying. So the last point in our top 10 list, and after this, we're getting out of here, going to bed and all that. It's almost 10 to 2. Is power creep. So now this is kind of the opposite of lack of visible improvement, but literally power creep. So power creep, like I said before, is whenever something comes out and it just completely, like, eclipses and replaces something that came before it, just out of nowhere. You don't farm for it, it's just given to you. So like knowledges coming out at 110, completely power creep fuses, because you can get them like 7 levels higher earlier, and it just carries you through the game, and it's just super good at a really low cost, low chakra cost. Like that's a complete power creep. Like, and then you have the thunder knowledges and the wind knowledges completely power creeping the horse mags. Like horse mags, like, oh cool, they're good if you're using ice or mountain, but aside from that, like this other mag came out and it does your job better. And the ice mag gets replaced later by the Oguchi mag, and I'm pretty sure there'll be a mountain mag later. Like, yeah, dude, like exactly. Rapid shot multi-hit moves, if they're doing X amount of damage per tick versus single hit move, absolutely. To a degree, yeah. If we had white raid, I don't want a white raid. What is it? A white raid and it's a white brilliance and a raid. Damn it. There's no prefix to raid. I was going to say, like, there's a white raid and there's a black brilliance. Like, we can't have a white raid. We can't do it. But the white brilliance and the raid, like, if we had raid and brilliance, then yeah, the El Sin would be completely worthless. Like, if you're objectively at this point, it's much better for someone to farm Tiamat weapons, like even if it's just a white flash compared to Spark, because the white flash does have 3,000 more attack than the El Sin. Like, objectively, you wouldn't go for it. And that's a whole Satan grind, fuse mags, go into that. This thing, you just go farm a guy and you go get it. It takes energy. Like, absolutely. Power creep, absolutely. Absolutely. I still firmly believe the El Sin's going to have a final form. Call it the Apocalypse. Call it the... What's the thing in the Bible? What's at the end of the Bible? Revelation, like Revelation weapons, like anything like that. Like I think there's going to be a final form to the El Sin, and it's going to be like 100 lightning, 100 holy. They're going to throw in another element on it or something, like 100 flight or some shit, and like 100 physical element. And it's going to have like 3 damage. It's going to have a physical damage modifier, like slice for swords and pierce for spear. Like that's going to come out, and that's going to be something people got to grind for, dude. Like that's the difference. Like when it's an actual in-game thing implemented that comes with a whole new boss, like Lucifer, Satan, Mephistopheles, Purple Mephistopheles, Eldritch, something like that, that's very healthy to the game because it gives people something to do. But when it's just power creep, like, oh, there's an event, you play it for a month, you're going to get this super awesome thing that's really, really cool, like the other side weapon, like, it's like, this is great, but I didn't earn it. Like, you know, and it depends what kind of person it is. Yeah. Like, they need to do to mags what the Dragon Arcs did. Like, we had the Gargoyles, then we had the Dragon Arcs. Both weapons of the same type, the same level, but one of them was like skill force and element based, and one of them was element and damage multiplier based. Like, introducing the damage multiplier changed the dynamic. Dragon Arc weapons were subpar when they first came out, but at a high level, when you had accessories buffing your attack, they were godly OP. And now anything that has a damage multiplier on it is just godly OP. Like, they need to do something like that for mags. Like, damage multiplier mags, whew, sign me up. Like, if they wanted to make, like, a variation of the Tempest, like, something that stand alongside the Tempest, like Dragon Heart mags or some shit, you know, something like that would do that, would be so good. This is just a personal preference, but I don't like the idea of weapons having base attack in MMOs. Do you mean, like, do you just want weapon skins? Or... So I haven't played enough MMOs to know what game would have a weapon that doesn't have damage. Weapons should have multipliers? Oh, you mean like traditionally like not, I was gonna say Call of Duty, but it's completely not. Like Dungeons and Dragons, where it's like this weapon gives you like +8 to strength or something, and it affects your rolls for constitution. So when it comes to doing damage, it boosts your dex, so you do more damage because of the buffs on this weapon, not because the weapon itself is godly strong. Like, I think that's what you're talking about. Like, it's not, I can just pick up this other side axe and it's just super, super good. Like, yeah, that's what you're talking about. Stats, okay. Yeah. Stats in this game do, like, other stuff, for sure. I know what you're saying. I don't think I'd like it, personally, for Onigiri, because I've already played Onigiri so much. But it would be cool to see mags that gave stats rather than, like, let's say, like, a mag's giving you, like, 100 skill force, but it gives you other effects, like stats or extra crit and stuff like that. That's what the White Brilliance is crazy, gives you stats. Like, hard stats. Yeah, I agree. That's a fair point. It could be an avenue they go in. Could be something really interesting. Absolutely. You're older than me, man. Hope you bought a girlfriend on there while you're playing it. God damn. And then the last form of power creep, and I didn't mention this earlier, I really should have. Kudos to anyone who listened to all 2 hours of this. But latest power creep is assist partners. Oh boy. Oh boy, assist partners are power creep. Satan, buffing your attack 60%. There's a big difference between having an 80k attack and a 100k attack. I'll tell you right now. You had like 50? God bless. Assist partners. If you don't have an assist partner that's buffing your attack while you're in Vanguard and Miyamoto and you're using Heart to double it, like, I don't know what you're doing, man. If you're not at 20k attack and you're attacking something, cheeks, man. Cheeks. Like, that's power creep, baby. Like, that's super hyper power creep. Like, mounts were power creep, but not really. Like, Vanguards are totally power creep, but not really. Because they all relied on your build. Mounts don't rely on your build, but they have fixed stamina. Support partners, they're just there. Just don't let them die. They're going to buff you, boy. They're going to make you OP. Like, it's just so much things. And it comes to a point where a top player is going to be like, well, I don't want this thing because it's power creep. But on the other hand, like I was mentioning this earlier, you want this thing because it's power creep. Whether you want it or not, you want to have it in your pocket for the day you need it. Like, what movie is that? In Full Metal Alchemist Conqueror of Shambhala, they go to, like, hunt Envy or something, and the Führer gives Edward a gun. And Edward doesn't want the gun because he doesn't like guns. He hates them. He used to use alchemy and stuff. He hates them. He's like, I don't want this. And the guy's like, man, you don't know what's in there. And reluctantly, Ed takes the gun. And the gun is literal power creep over the sword, over stuff. It's literally point and die. So, like, he takes the thing because he knows, well, if I don't use it, they're going to use it on me. If I get into a situation where I'm going to die, I'd rather have the power creep thing than my bare hands. You can't give a dragon D's hands, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not going to go well for you. Exactly, dude. Like, it's there. Assist partners that aren't jailbait? What are you talking about? They're our friends. Why are you thinking about things sexually? What's wrong with you, man? No, I'm just kidding. But yeah. So that's the 10-point power creep. I went over them again at the end. I'm not going to go over them anymore. But that's generally the top 10 reasons why people just aren't around. Because of all these things, you know? They're waiting for the next event. Like, it's probably going to be March before we get an event. Because they're working on the goddamn Switch. Like, that's why. So, yeah, my throat's getting a little dry here, guys. But thanks for the comments at the end. Good to see you guys. Harai and Sin and Terrell. Or, not Terrell. Your name was, Aya and Trill. That was it, Trill. And Logan as well. Nice to have everybody. Yeah. It's a good way to end it for sure. Yeah, YouTube. I need to look into it, like what's going on with the PlayStation notifications. But yeah, guys, that was a good video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave a like if you did. I know it's really long, and for some people, they want to farm something like experience for a long time. Well, here's 2 experience boosts right here. You can listen to it. The Aurogiri podcast. So, thanks for watching it. Have a good night. And if you don't see your friends around, this is why. Please understand and, welcome them when they come back. That's the big thing, guys. When your friends come back, you haven't seen them in a month, you go up to him and say, oh my God, dude, I love you. Come here, carry me. What? We're doing the new dungeon. All right. Like, be welcoming when they come back.